And we're well on to another high vibe conversation. I'm your host, Shel Shapiro, and with me today we've got Jenny Langren, Stina Marie Wilson, and Vettrus. Today we will be talking all about mind your mind. Before we get into the topic, I want to thank you for joining us. Remind you, safe space. I invite you to share with us as we talk through our life lessons and hold space for you to work through yours. So what this means is while we're having the conversation, if at any point you feel like you really love what we're saying, you resonate with it, you have your own thoughts and experiences, insights here, please feel free to share with us in the chat, whether you're catching us live or on the replay. We love to interact with you and see that we're having conversations that like. So please feel free to chat with us about these conversations. If you feel at any point like you want to have your own high vibe conversation, you can use this link on your screen to join us individually for a high vibe conversation of our own. The link will lead you to a place where you can one of our lovely ladies here to have that one-to-one conversation with. And if you've been here before, or if you're new here and you catch up on conversations, or make sure that you get alerts when new ones are coming your way, please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I will put these links at the end of the live so that you don't have to go searching for them. That being said, again, today we're talking about all about minding your mind. And it comes up for first and foremost with this is self-awareness. And as I go through my own self journey and think about how I've been empowering myself lately, I think about the relationships that I've been building with other people. That means that I'm selling, means I'm looking to collaborate, whether I'm just genuinely interested in getting to know the other person and making a new friend, whatever it is, all about relationships. And that self-awareness, the minding your mind part for me, comes in when it comes to like how I with that other, like saying, am I jumping right into like something that feels salesy or a little bit spammy, or am I leaning in curiosity and getting to know that person first on the other end? So the self-awareness on my end is more about noticing how I feel in that conversation, in those relationships, and how I'm making the other person feel, or how I think I want them to feel. And foremost, them to feel, of course, I can't control that, is I want them to feel like they're seen and heard. I want to ask curious questions that let them know that I'm genuinely interested in them and not like about to pitch them or doing something for other purposes besides building that relationship. So what's coming up? I'd love to hear what's coming up for each of you. Jenny, I'm going to come to you first. As we're talking about minding your mind, what's going for you?
What's coming in is conversations I've had with clients recently, and it's been on how we can really shape our experience in life, understanding that our mind and our brain believes what we tell it. And many of my clients come from backgrounds of abuse, for example. They've heard their parents call them names or tell them stories of what they can or cannot do and who they are. And just as they believe that to be true, they are free to be mindful and write their own story of who they are. And it's so cool to practice this kind of reframing. For example, we can have the story of, I'm too old for this. And we can write a new story that is, I decide the timing in my life. Or, I'm so scared, I'm brave. Or, I'm so nervous to enter this meeting, and turn it into, I'm so excited to do a good job or do my best. And it's really reclaiming the power in our lives. And I know I've been doing a lot of reframing for myself to write my own story. So that's what came in.
I love everything that you heard about reframing what you're telling your mind, because you're right. Our mind believes what we tell it. And if you gave an example of like being too old for something or being too scared to do it, and then how you reframed it, something specific for me is like I'm on skiing as we go into like winter months and like skiing season, if you will. Like I an opportunity younger to learn how to do this, and now I never did. But now that I'm like older and everybody's like, "Oh, come skiing with us," I'm like, I'm too old for it. Like I've caught myself saying that before. To go into it with a different perspective, right? I can flip that and be like, I'm excited to learn this, and never too late. So even that simple reframing and teaching my mind something else, to believe in something else. So I love that. Thank you for reframing that.
Yes, I think a philosopher once said that if I wake up in the morning and tell myself I can, or I wake up and tell myself I can't, both times I'm right. And it's so true when you think about it. And I remember when I was entering the LinkedIn community and I was watching all the brilliant coaches and professionals sharing their story with their words and sharing about their work. And I remember thinking to myself, I can never do that. That will never be me. And I just remember the feeling of embracing that as a truth. And then I just decided one morning, I think I had heard something really cool at a podcast or something. And I just decided one morning that that doesn't have to be my story. And I told myself that I can too. And I can share my voice in my way. And it will not look like anything else, but it will be me and it will be okay. And I actually posted my first post on LinkedIn that same day. So it is very powerful that we get to write our own story.
Ooh, that imposter syndrome, like like that you couldn't necessarily do something or that'll never be me, but like such a major shift to go and do it for yourself and to aim forward the way that you approached it so that you get to be authentically and genuinely you. I love that. You really the bull by and like put your first post out the same day and you haven't looked back since, right? So I think that's really minding it's so beautiful. I want to come over to Stina now. Stina, what's coming up for you as we're talking about minding your mind?
Therapy. Therapy's going to mind. I found that I existed for a few years in the like coaching bubble online. And this was in internet years, feels like ages ago because it was in like 2015, 16, 17. And I feel like things have just culturally changed so much in the last 5 or 6 years. But there was a lot of this sort of gaslighty behavior with mantras and, oh, just think positively. And, this idea of manifesting kind of was used as a fear mongering technique. Like, oh, if you have any negative thoughts, then it's it's going to create all of these negative circumstances. And now that I have worked with my therapist for a couple of years and learned more about the way that different brains work and the way that my brain works, I found that I can I can still use or I can appreciate and use some of those tools and techniques and ways of reframing things and thinking positively and creating positive outcomes without gaslighting myself and without over intellectualizing my feelings and allowing myself to have a feeling and that being okay and not trying to just fix it by thinking a different thing. Because sometimes there's the feeling will reveal like what the need really is. And so, like when Jenny's talking about reframing I'm scared into I'm brave, I've had to ask myself, okay, well, what's the evidence I need to believe that I'm brave? What do I actually need to do What do I actually need to be able to like see, touch, experience so that I start to actually write that story so that it's not just a thought, but then it like turns into action. And that's when, when you go into the meeting and you speak up and maybe you share a perspective that you wouldn't have shared before, or you respond to something that you would have stayed quiet about. That's when you start to create the evidence that those things are true for you. And so, yeah, it's been really helpful for me. So I think individuals who have ADHD or OCD in particular, though that's just what I have either firsthand or secondhand experience with friends and myself. If you try to just what's the word? Spiritually bypass, if you're kind of spiritually bypassing your mental health, it can be extremely beneficial to have a therapist who can help you to understand like what's actually going on. And I've been able to get to a point now where when I have one of those stories really just starting to rear up, and it's like you start to spiral a little bit, or you're getting anxious about something, worrying about something, where now I can cut it off. Like in a moment, I can just cut that off and say, I'm not going to think about that right now. That's not helpful to me. I'm not interested in putting my energy in that direction. And I can pivot and focus elsewhere. But it's like until you have that deeper understanding of yourself and how it works and how to do that compassionately and without gaslighting yourself, I think, yeah, I don't know where I looped that sentence back around, but you get the picture. And that's been my journey of going from that kind of, oh, I'll just positive think. That's how I'll change my mind, to a deeper exploration of myself that has helped me to create that evidence of the things that I'm thinking.
I love that, Stina. It correct me if I'm remembering this not the right way. That with the right, like the dwelling on certain things specifically. I think that was a word that you previously used, was like that you would ruminate, or hyperfix hyperfixate's my word. Ruminate, I think, was your word, but on like the feelings and emotions. And so I love the way that you've rephrased that, in gone deep to explore yourself and like know what you need, what you want to explore, and what's serving you in the moment, so that you get stuck in your head or somewhere in your body of like carrying those feelings that don't serve you, believing what isn't throughout those moments or throughout the day. Um, I, I think I'm remembering correctly, but tell me again if I'm. Love that gone to therapy and that you advocate for people to do this for themselves if they feel like they want more support with that. Everybody needs a therapist at least once in their life, if not for ongoing support. Um, so thank you for adding to in your mind. Today, Dorit, I'm coming down to you. What's coming up for you as we're talking about minding your mind?
Well, the mind is a big, curious place, and listening to Jenny and Stina, I can only say that that is what I see in my clients too. What they're both saying. So what I do in my sessions to kind of speed up a process to clear out my client's mind from all those negativities, those negative words that kind of stick like flypaper to them, and what kind of comes up when they have a moment of not focusing on anything, and their subconscious mind just like pops up those negative words like, oh, you're not good enough, you're too fat, you're too old, you're too, yeah, whatever. And I take them through something that I call a heart meditation, where they are in a hypnotic state, and I kind of guide them through taking this sounds probably kind of weird, but it's really effective. So I have them imagining that they're really, really tiny, and they kind of breathe themselves into their own heart. And inside their heart is like a huge, beautiful bathroom where they can take a shower and shower off all those negativities. So I'm saying a lot of those negative words that might resonate with them. And they're not taking a shower in water, they're taking a shower in wonderful, healing, good words that is kind of rinsing away this. So that's what they're picturing, and very often they are crying at this point. It's really powerful. And drying off in a big fluffy towel of love, you know, just like snuggled, and they can leave their own heart and put that new version of themselves wherever it feels right for them to do so. It can be on the shoulder, in the pocket, on the table next to them, wherever they want to do that, and just have a new start, in a way, like fresh. And by doing that, those words, those negativities doesn't come up like they used to. If there are any residues that would appear, they just look at them. I tell them just to look at them and just say thank you for coming, and just let them go. Thank you for showing me, or thank you for coming, and just let them go. Because if you try to push it away, it comes back stronger and with more force. And I always use something called a freedom sentence to kind of seal it all in, because acknowledging that you have these negativities inside you, that you are struggling with these things, is very, very powerful. So I always make them repeat after me, going, I acknowledge all of this, whatever it might be, all the way to the root of it, and all that it represents and is, all the way back to its origins, whenever that was, and that is okay. And have them breathe really 3 times and repeat, and that is okay. And it sounds so simple, but it has such a powerful effect on the mind. It's unbelievable. And the mind can believe what you tell it, but it can also be changed. So you can tell it what you want to, like change your story, like Jenny said, and change your focus, like Stina Marie said. You can, but as long as you're working on your conscious mind, those changes are usually something you have to repeat over and over again. And it will stick after a while. It's like learning to tie your shoes. It's like driving a car. It's like riding a bicycle. When you repeat it, it becomes easy, and you don't have to think about it. And that's what is done in the subconscious, is doing that in like one go. Sorry, I rambled on. Sorry.
It's not a ramble at all. Thank you, Dora. That was so powerful. Like that was, I want to have another with you to like
Anytime.
to get even deeper.
Anytime.
Yeah, how talking about going in through the heart, and like just as we were talking about last week, how like the heart on many and like so in that regard, like I'm thinking like the heart has its own little mind, so
yeah.
that you reprogram and create those new pathways forward for ourselves. Is as several of you shared today, you write your story and create a different narrative for yourself. So I love that you've been doing it yourself and help your clients reframe that for themselves too. Yeah, we're all given different perspectives of how we've done it for ourselves, others work. So I love having multiple ways to share this minding your mind conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Linda, I'm coming to you now. Coming up and talking about minding your mind.
Well, that's a beautiful visualization exercise. And Dora, I know you know this, but I absolutely love the work that you're doing in the world. What came up for me probably went between Jenny, what Jenny said originally, and then Stina, was the idea of, if you wake up in the morning and your emotion is say fear, then what's your word for the day? Is it going to be fear? Or if you don't want it to be fear, then what is it? And so this isn't about like going in and finding out where fear is coming from, because you can take all of that kind of stuff to an extreme. And then, like Stina talks about, get it into rumination and things too. So this is just if you're noticing that fear is coming up, and you're not choosing to be in fear for the day, then what is the opposite of fear for you? And if it's courage, then, back up. So if it's fear, what does that feel like right now, especially in your body, and kind of describing it, and then changing it to, the word that you would like for your day. And if it's courage, then what does that feel like for you? And where does it feel? How is it feeling in your body? And just really stepping into it almost on a holistic level, like all of you, your mind, your body, your spirit, whatever. And so it's called, what's your word for the day? And that has helped. It has helped me. It has also helped my clients as well. Oh, that's kind of that was a biggie. Well said, everybody.
Yeah. I love that exercise of having the word for the day. Somebody asked me my word. I don't know if it was just for the day or the season. I had a previous client asking me, we were catching up, and he asked how I was doing. I'm excited. And I've been noticing that that's my word most days lately. I feel others throughout the day. That's usually my reframe, is what do I get to be excited about, or what am I looking forward to? So I love the word of the day. It's a really great way to change the outcome in smaller but meaningful way. So yeah. Thank you, everybody, for sharing all your insights, finding your mind. As Linda mentioned, wonderful shares today. I feel really excited about it. And no, I didn't just say that on purpose. It just naturally came out. I remind everybody that this is a safe space. So if you are watching the replay later on and you resonate with this conversation, have your insights that you want to add, or anything that you want to share with us, experiences, parts of your journey relate to my mind, please feel free to drop your comments into the chat. Or if you'd like to do that more privately, this is where you can schedule a one conversation with a lady on the screen of your choosing. And don't forget, if you want to have more conversations, you're ready, please make sure to catch up on the previous conversations or subscribe so you get right here on the channel. We have more high vibe conversations coming your way, so make sure to come back for more. Connect with on LinkedIn, whatever platforms you feel comfortable interacting on. We are here for you. We love having these conversations, and until next time, we will say bye.